Hello and welcome everybody to the fourth installment of the Tat-a-Long for the cross from Miss Gina Butler. Again, thank you Miss Gina for the use of your pattern. Today is going to be a lot less of the cross and a lot more of the tail part. So we're going to bring you up to speed and finish off the cross, but mostly it's going to be about the tail. So hopefully you're ready to personalize and have some fun. So for today, this is where we left off in the last video, so I'll get that in just a second. So for today, you'll need a crochet hook, a pair of scissors, another pair of scissors if you like, the pattern, whoops, not the upside down pattern, the pattern, and a willingness to learn. So this is some of the crosses in different sizes. This is size 40, size 20, size 10, size 5, and as promised, my attempt at a size 80. I'll put this in my hand so you can see a little, the colors are a little light. As you can see, I kept breaking, I broke my thread. This is my second or third attempt. It is very tiny. I mean, when put up against the size 5, it's like David and Goliath there. So, and against the size 10, size 40 is a little closer, size 20. And you can see kind of how they all lay out. These are tatted exactly the same. That's just to give you proportion size for the different things tatted in the different sizes. They're tatted exactly the same number of stitches, joins, all of that, following the pattern exactly. So there's that. So today we're going to finish off the cross. Hopefully you've enjoyed our time together. If there's something I need to do differently in a future Tat-a-Long, please let me know. I'm always up for some constructive criticism / feedback. So please let me know what's working for you, what's not. I know the last one was a little on the slow side. So we're going to pick up the pace a bit, and you're not going to watch me tat quite nearly as much in this one. So for today, this is where we left off. Ooh, goodness. In the last video. So we're at the top of that, the long chain of 12 we just did. And again, you can see if you pick up the tatting and get it all in the right spot, you saw it just be crumpled up there. You can read your tatting by looking at which one is on top. Okay, I just came off of that chain. That chain has 12 in it. I'm probably getting ready for a ring, which I am because we're at the top in 21 there. We're ready to make the ring of 21. So for this video, or for this Tat-a-Long, you will need your wound shuttle, your ball of thread to finish off your cross. And then once we get back down to the beginning, down to here, I'm going to show you some little tricks and tips that I use, some little things that I do. So don't worry if you don't have a second shuttle wound. I'm going to show you how you could possibly do that off of the ball that you have existing in our project. We're going to touch on a lock chain, a spiral chain, possibly node stitch or Victorian sets, and split ring, and possibly, I think I said split ring, and possibly some Clunies. I did a whole video of Clunies, and I have, let me see if I can get the camera working over there. One second. Let's see. That is just a whole chain, if you will, chain of tallies that I did, a chain of Clunies. So that's kind of the idea that you can do in your own chain if you would like. So you can customize your tail. I should call it a tail, not a chain. You can customize your own tail how you would like. So if you just want a whole line of Clunies, then absolutely go to the Cluny video and watch that and do just a whole line of Clunies. If you want a whole line of split rings, then we're going to touch on split rings. I'll do another in-depth video on split rings at a later date so that you can watch that video as well. But it should be a lot of fun just to customize however long you want your tail to be and what implements and elements that you want in your tail. So stick close at the end, because it's just we're gonna run through a bunch of different techniques, and then hopefully in the weeks to come I'll be getting those videos out pretty quickly. The in-depth versions, especially the split ring, is a little more in-depth than possibly we want to go right here. So we'll have a split ring. I already did the Tallies one, or the Cluny's one, the split ring and the lock chain, which is so cool. I hope that you guys really like it as much as I do. And I will say, if you like the lock chain and you want to use it in your tail, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting 2 different really contrasting colors, because I really think that's what makes the lock chain pop. I had, and of course I can't find it. Here you go. Here, let's do a down shot. I found it. This is a lock chain, so you can see the different colors just pop, and so that's what you're gonna want. So think about your tail. If you want to use the exact same colors as you used in your cross, absolutely. If you want to wind a different one, that's up to you. Like I said, the tail is going to be highly, highly customizable. So let's finish this cross off so we can get to the tail. So we're up here, and like I said, Gina did a great job of laying this pattern out how we would actually look at it. So if we're looking at this, we just did our chain, we're coming around. Now we have to do our ring. So we're at ring 21. We're going to join with that picot up there. We're going to do another 12 double stitches, make another ring, and join, so that this join right up here will have 3 rings itself, another one sitting here, and another one coming in from that side. Then I'm probably going to leave you off, and I'll come back and we'll do the clover, a little bit of the clover, and then I'll leave you off to do the arms and come back, and then we'll do that last ring in the clover. And then the rest of this is just 3 joined to the ring before, 3 joined to the picots that we all the way down the cross. So 3 joined to the ring before, 3 join to the ring across, 3 picot closed. Then the next one join to that one you just made, the next one up here, 3 close, and so on and so on and so on, all the way back to the beginning. And I'll probably pick it up maybe at this one at maybe 40, ring 40 down here, and I'll meet you back when we connect this. So it's going to be a lot of jumps for the actual cross, because I think you've got the idea by now. So it's just a lot of joining to the same, making the mirror image. You know, the cross arm is going this way. Now we're going to make the cross arm going this way, and then on down and join everything. So that's the plan, Stan. So let's get to it. I'm going to make my ring, join up to that picot, and I will see you in a second. Okay, so here I am. I have turned the corner. I've made my 21. I've made 21, joined it, 22, joined it, and now I'm going to reverse work and do a 6 chain. Now I will say that the longer this gets, the more you add, you know, and get towards the end, the more fiddly it gets, the more floppy the piece gets. So I encourage you to stick with it, flop it out of the way. A lot of people, I haven't been super successful with doing it underneath like that and letting the tatting be over the top. I find I do better like this. But you do however you can hold it. Try not to crumple it too much is the main thing, because you want to be able to clearly get and see your picos and get to them and all that. But it's up to you how you hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I didn't talk a lot about this, but I will just briefly here. You can see that this was pretty small, and I kind of unconsciously do it. I don't even know if I can show on screen. I'll make this chain just a bit longer and then frog it. But I'm letting go with my pinky a little bit. I only have it wrapped the one time and pulling a little. See how that's lengthening that? So I have a little bit more room. And then I just add stitches as I need to. And then when that gets small again, I just sort of let off the tension in my pinky. I uncurl my pinky and pull up with my middle finger, and that lengthens. See how that's kind of letting up that, now it's got a big old snag in it, but it lets up some of that. It's kind of the same idea of crocheting and knitting when you have it, you know, around your finger for tension. That's why there is a crochet hold. I haven't been successful, even though I do crochet and knit. I was never successful holding it with my middle finger like crocheters, you know, holding the pinch like this and having it go around. I was never really successful with that. It felt too awkward for me. But if that's the way you like it and that's the way you can do it, certainly do it that way. I'm going to frog back to my 6th stitch here, and then I'll continue on. I'll meet you back in just a sec. And we're back. And I just put in that other ring, joined to this ring, joined to this one across, and made a picot ready to make this ring now. First I have to reverse work and do my 6 chain. And like I said, I'm gonna just do this one to show you. It does get extremely fiddly because it's not stiff and it just wants to flop into your way mostly, but that's okay. You can do it. You have opposable thumbs, and if all else fails, you have scissors. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you saw just that little let out of chain there, and I actually made an accidental picot right there, but I'm just going to leave it because I think it builds character, and I just don't feel like frogging every stitch I make today. Some days are like that. Some days you frog a lot, some days you frog a little. So now we're going to set up, we've reversed work, we're going to set up for a ring, and we're going to keep hitting the microphone because that's what we do. All right, I'm going to try and move it so it's not quite right there ready to be hit. All right, so 1, 2, 3, and we're going to join. Let me zoom in just a hair. We're going to join to this picot. So you just try to get everything as close as you can. That's why I like using a picot or a crochet hook on these. And like I said, I made these picots quite large. These are not what I would consider joining picots. These are more decorative size for sure. And there's also something to be said for, especially on a piece like this, using a picot gauge. However, since this video was for newbie noobs, you know, intended for very newbies. I didn't want to have to hold a picot gauge, this floppiness, and the, you know, actual tatting all in the pinch and try to hold it all and not drop anything. So again, this is kind of the floppy part, but we're gonna join to this picot across here. So this is what I do. I just sort of lay where it's closest. I've got my work up to that point. And I'm going to down through the picot, grab some, pull it back up, pop it on my finger so that it doesn't have a chance to twist, because it will. Run my shuttle through it, put my finger back into where it goes, and work this down so it's the height of the same of my other stitches, or as close as I can get. Kind of flip that out of the way because it's kind of laying across my thread there. Put in the second half, kind of peek underneath. I'm trying to turn my hand so you can see it, but kind of peek underneath, so that counts as one stitch, 2, 3, and then we've already joined twice, so we only have one more picot to go, which will be a joining picot the next time we come around. So put in our picot, 2, 3, and post our shuttle because it makes us feel fancy. Close the ring down, do the floofy dance, and there you go. And we are now at, let's see, we were at ring 21, so 21, 22, 23, 24, so 24. So we're at this clover again. So look closely at 24. There's no ring, there's no chain, excuse me, between 24 and 25. That's the start of our clover. So we're going to not reverse work. And the join is right there. That's the picot we're going to join to. It looks a little flat right now, but we're going to do 3 join to this picot, 3 join to this picot. So let's set up for a ring. And like I said, this is fiddly, and if you find a better way to do it, let me know, okay? Because like I said, we're learning together. So get it right up next to that. 1, 2, 3, join, pop it up there. Whoops. Try not to get it hung up on your crochet hook. Make that the same as the rest of the stitches without choking it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now, like I said, I just sort of lay it close to where it's supposed to be. Need to give myself a little more room and choke back a bit. So there's the picot. See it? There's the picot. I'm trying to hold it open. There it is. So we're going to go down through that picot, pick up some thread, pop it back on the finger, and I just sort of let it be in my way for a little bit, for just a second. Work it down. Try not to twist that picot. We don't want a twisted picot. Work it down. Flip it back out of the way. Put in the second half. 2, 3. Picot. 2, 3. And then we've got all of our picots and such. And you can tell already I didn't do a super job on that, but that's okay. We're not going to be super critical. If you can't see it on the back of a horse at a gallop squinting, we're not going to care too awful much. Oh, I joined to the wrong spot. Oh no. We're supposed to be in there. Oh, how fun. I joined to the wrong picot. All right, well, we get to frog it. So to open a ring, you want to pull on your picot until you can see the core thread, and you want to get a pair of pliers. I will be right back. All right, well, here's a little educational moment. You want a pair of, these are crosshatch pliers, or a pair of hemostats. These are my favorite because they hold better, and my hands aren't so great at holding. But these particular ones, if I can get a good shot of these, see how they have quite a lot of teeth. These are actually not the best, because if you have a mistake, like in a size 80 thread like I had, like these, this will rip it and just kill your size 80 thread. It'll act like a pair of scissors because of the teeth. So I tried to get one. You can see these are quite a less teeth, and I might try some sandpaper even and try to get these even less. But you pull on that, you pull on your picot to try to open this and loosen this, and then you put your hemostat, this is opening a ring, and you put your hemostat down at the bottom and clip it so that it doesn't come back open, and just start pulling that core thread back out until you can open up, whoopsie, until you can open up that ring and put it back on your hand. See, that's what we want. Beautiful. So that you can start frogging those stitches again. And remember, you posted your shuttle, so you'll want to go back up through to put your shuttle on the correct side to begin frogging. Put the loom back on your hand, and then it should be just like any other frogging situation. And I joined to the wrong picot, so I have to frog clear back to here, because the picot is right here that I need to join to. That I didn't join to. I joined to this one down here, and it's just going to clutter this up, I do believe, quite a bit. So I need to join to the correct picot up here. So I'm going to frog this back to the join, and I'll be back to hopefully do it correctly this time. I will say one last thing about frogging here. I know you want to hurry, and I'm kind of in a hurry myself because I'm trying to get to the end of this video, and I just need to remind myself to slow down. There's no hurry, there's no rush. And if you go quickly, especially when you're jamming your crochet hook down in there to open up those stitches, there's a very good opportunity to split the ply, and you absolutely don't want to do that. You don't want to be splitting your ply, because that's just going to create all kind of trouble for you down the line. So you want to try to do it slowly, gently, you know, all of those nice soft words. You want to be soft and not mean to your tatting, even if you're frustrated. So if you're super mad that you made a mistake and you have to frog, maybe put down the tatting for a second, go do something else, get out all that nervous energy, and then come back so that you can go slow and steady and do it correctly and nicely and gently, because you don't want to be killing your tatting. You worked hard on this, and you don't want to be killing your ply and making it all frizzy and frayed and looking a mess. So just a little life lesson in there too, that it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. It's how you deal with it. And that's a good lesson for us, and definitely a good lesson, especially as we're working on a cross, that, you know, we need to work on forgiveness, and we need to work on forgiving other people, and we definitely need to work on forgiving ourselves, because I think that's one of the biggest things. Is we get into a tizzy, or we get into a situation, and then we just let it spiral out of control because we don't know how to forgive ourselves. And you know, there's a certain saying that I've heard, and I'll just share it with you, and then I'll shut up and get back to tatting. But if you had a friend that talked to you the way that you talk to yourself, would that friend be a good friend? Just think about that. And be kind to yourself. Talk nicer to yourself. Because you know, you're with yourself 24/7. You're never not by yourself. So we spend a lot of time with ourselves. So be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to the person that you are, and speak nicely to the person that you are. And yes, we all need to change. We all need to grow. I'm not saying that. But be kind. Be kind to yourself. If you need a break, take it. Love frogging joins, let me just tell you. I really hate frogging joins because they mess with my head. I'm not very good at turning things around in 3D and manipulating things and going back, reversing direction. It's pretty sad, actually, how bad I am at it. So it just kind of messes with my mind. But if you have the join and you can pop it up on your finger and follow the thread back and pull the join out, da 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 da, sometimes it works out just great. Thank you, Lord. That one worked out pretty good. Okay, now, see, I didn't hear you all yelling at the camera. No, no, this one, this one. So here's the join where we want to join, I do believe, because that's the center of the clover on that side. That's the center of the clover on that side. So that's the picot right there. That one there that's flat, flattened out. And see, I did make a little, oh, let go. I did make a little extra loop. I pulled that one a little bit, but if you do the floofy dance, hopefully it'll flatten back out and be fine. If not, it adds character. Like I said in the beginning, the only perfect thing about the cross was the man hanging on it, so the cross itself wasn't perfect. But there you go. So go down through that picot. Get your work out of the way first. Go down through that picot. I apologize. There goes my phone. I thought I put it on silent. Obviously I didn't. Go up through there. Pull it down. Make sure you're not all wobble-jawed, because you can join it backwards. I've done that too. So try to hold your tatting where it's supposed to be so you don't get all wobble-jawed. Then just kind of gently move that out of the way. Oh, goodness. Try not to have yourself be all thumbs. Put in the second half. There you go. And then 2. Keep it out of the way. 3. It doesn't look the greatest, but that's okay. Oh, see, there's a picot on the back of that. I might have to frog that, but maybe not. Well, it's not going to be a very pretty join, but that's okay. 2, 3. So it looks like there's 2 picots, see, because we did it, well, I did it incorrectly, but I'm sure yours is looking better than mine, and that's what counts. The master, the student has become the master. So there you go. It looks a little wonky because there's an extra, I didn't tighten that down tight enough. So there you go, learn from my mistake. Tighten that down so it doesn't look like a weird picot right there. But join to that one, and then the next one we're going to join in there as well. I'm going to leave it because, like I said, if you can't notice it from the back of a horse at a gallop, I'm not going to really care, and I would like to further on this project. And see how we've really sucked up that gaposis with that little trick. Putting the second half in. Will say if I was a little bit more consistent in my picot sizes, it wouldn't pull so far apart. So that's a tip for you. Again, learn from my mistake, is to make these more of a joining size, because you don't need this big, long, picot in between. You can make them pretty close, and then they would just suck together, and then they would be pretty small, and then make the ones on the corners a bit bigger to join to. And if you wanted, there's a lot of customization you could do with this cross. You could add some decorative picots onto your chains on the outside. Just be sure of your counts, keep your counts pretty close, but you could do like one stitch and then do picot, 5 picots and then another stitch, and call it good, or 4 picots, and just do 2 stitches on either end and have it be very frilly, very decorative. So that's another option as well. I believe the designer said that she was making, it was for a student that was making this as a gift for a man, so they didn't want it to be so frilly. So, but if you wanted a more frilly look, or a lacy look, I suppose is the correct term, then you could certainly do that. So now we've joined, we've made our chain of 6. We're going to do some more rings and join them, finish off this arm, go around 12 just as we've done over here and up here, same thing exactly. And then I'll meet you back probably around here so we can do that last little clover and start going down, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. And we're back, and as you can see, I've come around the corner and I've done 30, 31, and 32, and I'm getting ready for that last clover coming around the corner. So I'm going to just do 33 and join in there. And again, it's okay, it gets super fiddly at this point, but just take a deep breath, go slow, push it out of your way as much as you can. 2, 3. I apologize if you can hear my neighbor's chickens. I don't know how much the mic is picking up, but she seems to be very upset right now. So I don't know why. I have named her Henrietta. I don't know if that's her name, but that's her name for me, and she answers to it, so hey. 2, 3, here comes the join. Let's see if we can join it correctly this time. Here's the join. There's 3 joins. We're making a 4th, so just get it as close as you can. It's hard to keep it all on your finger, especially because I've made my picots so big. It would be a little tighter together if I didn't make them so big, but I'm going to go down, grab, nope, split the ply. All right, try again. Go down. There you go. And then I just sort of leave it over the top of all this. I know it's probably hard to see on camera, but I just sort of leave it because it's just going to be in the way. It's just going to be super fiddly. It is what it is. So pull that down, flip that tail back out of the way, then put in that second half, get that tail out of the way. So 1, 2, 3, we need a picot, 2, 3, and I always just double check before I close. I've got a join, a picot, so I have 3 things. I always make sure before I close, because I really don't like opening closed rings. It's not my jam. It's not my favorite thing. So there you go. Ugh, untangle everything. There's our 4 joins in the center. Now if I would have not made that extra picot thing right there, it would have looked really snazzy. But there you go. There's the 4 joins in the middle. Let me show you on the biggest one I made, the size 5. I think I did a really good job. So that join looks pretty snaz right there. And I think I did a little better job of keeping my picots a bit on the same size. You can see how they're kind of sucked up together. There's not as much room in between because I didn't leave a lot of give. I made them pretty close. So you see, if you vary the size of your picots, you're going to get a whole different look. I think this one is my favorite probably because of just how nice and uniform it looks. I do like the size 41 just for the colors, and the size 21 for the color sake. But you can see how there's quite a bit, especially in the size 41. There's a lot of space in between there. And if I would have sucked up that space, maybe it would have laid a little bit better. A lot of things can be corrected in blocking if you just sort of give it a little steam from an iron and pin it out. A lot of things can be corrected if you starch it. A lot of things can be corrected as well. And you can see on this one I made a mistake. There's an extra picot hanging out, or a non-join that was supposed to be joined. So if you look super close, I don't know if you could see that on camera there. See that extra picot because it's really dark purple. It's really not showing up. But if you look really close, you'll find, like I said, mistakes in each one. But if you look at them just, like that, oh, that's a nice bookmark. So don't be so super critical of yourself. That's always a good lesson. But we've got our 4 join in. But we're going to not reverse work, put in our next. That would be going around down the side here. 34, and then it's just join chain, join chain, join chain all the way back down to where we began, and then I'll see you back. Let's see if we can do, I'll see you back for the trick and see if we can do the trick really good the last time. Okay, and we've made our last trick, and look at there, that gaposis is practically nil. So you get better as you go, I guess. So there you go. So now we have reversed work. We've put in our chain. Now we're going to reverse work again. And now it's just going down. We are at 35. So we're just going to add 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. And we're going to join it to the one next to it and the one across. Reverse work, make a chain, join, reverse again, all the way back down. And I'll see you right about this chain. I'll come back. Okay, I have another little tip. So you know how in between a ring and a chain, normally you have more thread out from your shuttle when you finish a ring because you have to go around your whole hand. Whereas the chain, you're using the other thread to go around your hand, and then you have this big space that's in between your work and your shuttle. And normally you choke up. Sometimes I just get sick of doing that. Choking up and letting out, choking up and letting out. So what I will do is on a chain, if I have a lot of extra thread, is I'll do reverse riego, because reverse riego to me takes up a lot of thread anyway. So I'll do just my chain, reverse riego method, and then I don't have to keep choking up and choking, and opening up and choking and opening, because then sometimes, especially like this type of thread, because it's not tightly wound like Elizabeth, sometimes it gets little like wear marks in it because I've gone up and gone back so many times. So a lot of times I will do that in between, and then go back to slip and slide Jane's Way and back and forth. So just a little tip, if you don't like to constantly choke up and back on your shuttle thread. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought I was close. You can use that because that method uses a little bit more thread. So hopefully that helps you, and you don't have the, especially if the clicking annoys you, then you don't have the constant click, 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 click. So, or if it annoys your loved one that may be sitting there trying to watch, you know, some sort of movie or something. But anyways, that's a nice little tip as well, that you can use that other tatting method if it uses more thread. I saw one online that she wrapped the whole thing like around her wrist. So there are several that use quite a lot of thread out. So if you have one of those methods that you use, you can certainly switch back and forth. Just make sure your picots, your stitches, your tatting in general is the same size throughout, because you don't want to have huge stitches on one side and teeny tiny stitches on another side. So just make sure that you're consistent. That's the biggest thing in tatting, and in most things I would say that are fiber arts. Just be consistent. Be consistent in size. Be consistent in tension. Be consistent in stitches, all that kind of stuff. Tension is a huge issue for me, especially in crochet and knitting. I can't I can't make cables. I stitch, I knit so tightly. Haven't successfully made nice looking cables. I've made cables. They haven't been nice looking. So just a little tip, if you have a bit of extra thread, and you can see I'm flipping that, the rest of the work out of my way so I can kind of see what I'm doing. And a lot of it is by feel, but that's the way you can get extra large picots too. So you don't want that caught up in your work, and you don't want to, a lot of times this tail will want to sneak into the ring, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to close your ring and have your tail stuck in it or your work stuck in it. So just a little tip. We got a few more to go, and I'll meet you back. Okay, here we are at the last melon. No, sorry, little movie reference there. Ice Age. Anyway, we're back down here. We have completed ring 40. We're now reversing work and doing 12 double stitches back to ring 1. I have 9 double stitches in, so let's finish off. 10, 11, 12. Curve your chain however much you would like to curve it, and here is how I finish off. I do a lock join. So all that means is you put the shuttle thread over the top. This is a little hard to find sometimes, so hopefully I get it on the first poke. Hey, hey. You come up through the bottom, grab that shuttle thread. Whoa, almost lost it. Okay, pop it up on your finger. Obviously I'm going to need to choke open here. And run that shuttle thread up through, and then I know it's going to be hard to see with those tails in the way, but you want you want this amount of purple thread to be as close to the starting point as possible. So you just pull on whichever thread is going to make that close. See how that's closing down? Pulled the wrong one. I was looking at the screen, not the work. Okay, see how that's all closed? And then you can hold that in the pinch and then pull that thread until it's closed. Pull it tight. And it becomes, oh, I just pulled it open. Oh goodness, let's see. and it'll pull, well, you don't want it that open. You want it really choked down there. So let me see if I can pick this out and fix it. And if not, we're just gonna leave it. Because what we're gonna do next, we're gonna snip those off is what we're gonna do so that they can be out of the way. We're gonna snip them off pretty close. Don't be scared. Okay, so now they're out of the way and we can see. So we've made a lock. We've made a lock stitch. It didn't lock super great, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna make a lock chain. It looks like this. So I really encourage you to have two separate colors. We're just gonna keep your hand wrapped for a chain. We just made the lock stitch to join it back to the center part. I left it way too wide. It didn't do exactly as I planned, but that's okay. That's a learning experience. Now, a lock chain is super simple. Impress all your friends with your newbie knowledge because this is super fun and it looks complicated and it looks great. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna do a lock stitch here just to make sure that that lock join holds. So we're gonna keep this thread, the blue thread, taut, and we're gonna wrap around. We're not gonna flip that stitch, and we're just gonna encapsulate that thread and pull it all the way back down into the pinch. Okay? Okay, now we're gonna start making our lock chain. So we're gonna keep our hand wrapped for a chain. We're gonna make a chain. We're going to do the first half of the double stitch. We're gonna flip it. So make sure the stitch flips, pull it down, keep it in the pinch. We're gonna make the second half encapsulated, unflipped. So just hold the blue thread, hold it really taut, and just pull that down into the pinch. See? Doesn't look like much now, but let's do like 6 stitches. So there's 2, we're gonna flip, unflipped, 3, flip, unflipped, flip, 4, unflipped, 5, flip, unflip, 6, flip, unflip. Ooh, I flipped it. Hold on, go back. Okay, there you go, unflip. And as you can see, I got a little picot in there, but as you can see, there you go. It almost looks like a braid, but it makes a really neat little design. How cool is that? So you could just have that be your tail if you wanted. One thing also I noticed on my cross here, if you're critiquing my cross, which we can, you notice on this side my chains are really relaxed, and on this side they're really bunched up. There's not a lot I can do to fix it at this point other than to try the floofy dance. But again, that just goes back to consistency of how tight you are snugging your chains. I snugged them really tight on this side, not so tight on this side. So again, learn from my mistakes if you want it to look different. But all in all, I don't think that that's a terrible looking cross. I mean, of course, there's things I would love to do differently and take out and make look better. But all in all, I really think it looks nice. And even though the middle does look a tiny bit wonky, you really can't tell unless you're looking pretty close about that extra picot. And if you look from the other side, it's kind of hidden. And if not, then, you know, you can always make another one and keep this one for a garbage piece or whatever, a learning piece. But that's a lock chain. So you can make that as long as you wanted and keep going with that. I really like lock chains. I think they look super cool. Well, thank you for tuning in. We're going to I'm going to split it up into two so that we can have the rest of the tail. So I'm going to split the video right here. Tune in next time for the rest of the tail and all the customizations. I hope that you've enjoyed watching it up to this point. We've now finished the cross, got a little tiny bit of the lock chain on there, and next time we will finish off the tail in a bunch of different ways. I just think it makes it very, very long at this point to keep going, so we're just going to stick a fork in it for today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. As always, you have opposable thumbs and scissors, and you are the masters of the thread. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.